What if I told you the most beautiful creatures on Earth don't walk, they fly? From jungles that glow like stained glass to snow forests whispering in silver, this world is home to feathers so unreal, you'll swear someone cranked up the saturation slider of life itself. These aren't just birds, they're living artwork, emeralds with wings, sapphires that sing, and sometimes little monsters with fashion sense so bold they'd make Paris runway models quit mid-stride. Across 6 continents, evolution went wild, painting with light, sound, and motion. Some of these birds sparkle only under moonlight. Others dance, scream, or hypnotize with color so bright it bends reason. And here's the wildest part. Every shade, every plume, every impossible pattern exists not for us, but for love. Because in nature's beauty contest, the prize is survival. So buckle up. We're about to chase color across the planet, from icy crowns to tropical flames. But tell me this before we start. If beauty really is in the eye of the beholder, which one of these wings will steal yours? If beauty had a religion, this would be its god. Meet the resplendent Quetzal, the bird that once wore the crown of kings and still looks like it knows it. Emerald feathers shimmer like liquid jade, tail plumes stretch nearly 3 feet long, and that scarlet chest glows like a heartbeat in motion. This isn't just a bird, it's a divine accident, a creature so unreal that ancient Mayans believed it carried messages from the gods. They called it the serpent of the sky. Priests wore its feathers as symbols of light and rebirth, and harming one was punishable by death. Imagine that, a bird so sacred you could worship it but never own it. Try finding that kind of respect in modern times. High in the misty cloud forests of Central America, the Quetzal lives quietly, feeding on wild avocados and fruit. When it flies, those green feathers ripple through the fog like a living aurora, slow, regal, untouchable. You don't spot a Quetzal, it appears like a secret you weren't supposed to see. Here's a fun fact. Those magnificent tail feathers, they actually grow longer during mating season. Proof that even in the wild, love makes you a little extra. And yes, males are the fancy ones, because in the bird world, beauty is survival strategy, not vanity. Yet for all that splendor, the Quetzal is fragile. Its forests shrinking, its numbers fading. It's a reminder that perfection doesn't always last forever. So what do you think? The most beautiful bird on Earth, or just the most expensive-looking ghost of a lost paradise? Because one thing's for sure, when this bird takes flight, even the gods look up. The resplendent Quetzal, sacred, shining, and heartbreakingly real. Proof that sometimes beauty isn't created, it's inherited from the heavens. If the Quetzal is divine elegance, this bird is divine chaos. Meet the Andean cock of the rock, a creature so orange it looks like the jungle hit sunrise and never stopped. Its body blazes like molten tangerine, its wings pulse crimson, and its head, well, imagine a pompadoured mushroom with eyes. Some call it beautiful, others call it ridiculous, and both are right. You'll find it in the cloud forests of the Andes, where mist drips through moss-covered cliffs, and these birds gather for the world's loudest dating game. It's called a lek. Dozens of males crammed into one clearing, all screaming, hopping, bowing, flashing their crests like neon billboards shouting, "Pick me!" It's not singing, it's competitive chaos. And the females, they just watch, unimpressed, choosing one winner and vanishing like bored royalty. Talk about pressure. Here's a fun fact. Scientists say the cock of the rock is so obsessed with display that some males spend hours a day rehearsing alone. That's right, literal dance practice. Imagine explaining that to your therapist. I flap for validation. Despite the drama, they're surprisingly shy. Outside the lek, they vanish into green shadows, feeding quietly on fruit and berries, their flaming feathers dimmed by forest light. But when the sun hits them just right, their color ignites, a living ember burning under the Andes rain. So what do you think? Nature's fashion experiment gone wrong, or the boldest performer evolution ever produced? Because whether you love or laugh at it, you'll never forget it. The Andean cock of the rock? Brilliant, bizarre, and proof that in the theater of life, sometimes the most unforgettable act is the one that refuses to tone it down. If the Andean cock of the rock was the jungle's performer, then this one is the full-blown carnival. Meet the scarlet macaw, the bird that doesn't just wear color, it owns it. Fire-red feathers blaze across its body, blending into gold, blue, and hints of green, like someone mixed the rainbow, lost control, and called it a masterpiece. In the heart of the Amazon, the scarlet macaw is the sound, the soul, and occasionally, the loudest gossip columnist in the trees. These birds mate for life, but they also argue for life. Couples squawk, chatter, preen, and scream at each other like an old married duo that refuses to go to therapy. And honestly, it's adorable. They're intelligent, emotional, and dramatic. Everything you'd expect from something this colorful. With a wingspan over 3 feet, they glide above the canopy in perfect synchrony, flashing streaks of red against the endless green jungle. It's not just flight, it's a moving festival. Here's a fun fact. Their beaks are so powerful they can crack Brazil nuts, something even a hammer struggles with. They use that strength to climb trees like acrobats and to gently feed their mates because apparently love bites harder when you have jaw muscles of steel. Their bright feathers aren't just for show, they signal loyalty and strength, helping lifelong pairs recognize each other even across the dense forest. It's romantic, loud, and unapologetically flashy. Basically, the Latin America of birds. But there's a deeper side too. Macaws are the jungle's alarm bells. When danger approaches, they scream first and the forest listens. So what do you think? The loudest drama queen in the Amazon, or just a living sunset refusing to fade? Because no matter how you see it, this bird doesn't blend in. It defines the background. The scarlet macaw, vibrant, vocal, and proof that sometimes beauty isn't quiet, it's gloriously impossible to ignore. Just when you thought color had limits, this bird shows up and breaks them. Meet the paradise tanager, the feathered glitch in reality that makes Photoshop look lazy. Imagine a head in lime green, a belly of sky blue, a rump that shifts from yellow to crimson, and wings dipped in black velvet. It's not a color scheme, it's a cosmic accident that somehow worked. You'll find this neon dream flying through the Amazon basin, often in small, noisy flocks that move like sparks through the canopy. From afar, they look unreal, like confetti caught in a sunbeam. Up close, they're worse. You just stare, trying to figure out what part your brain refuses to process. Here's a fun fact. The paradise tanager's feathers don't even have pigment for most of that glow. They're structural colors, microscopic layers bending light into living rainbows. It's not painted color, it's engineered light. Nature's version of nanotech. They're shy but social, chirping soft metallic notes as they bounce from tree to tree, gathering fruit, insects, and apparently disbelief. Because even scientists admit this bird's palette is so vibrant it's hard to photograph accurately. Every photo undersells it. Reality looks more edited than the edit, but that's what makes it magical. You can't own its beauty. No lens, no filter, no AI render can quite capture how alive it looks when sunlight hits its feathers. And while it doesn't strut or scream like a macaw, the paradise tanager doesn't need to. It knows its perfection. Quiet, confident, untouchable. So what do you think? The ultimate designer bird, or proof that nature's been flexing color theory since forever? Because this isn't just beautiful, it's unfair. The paradise tanager. Brilliant, impossible, and living proof that paradise isn't a place, it's plumage. If the paradise tanager was divine art, this one is divine chaos. Meet the rainbow lorikeet, the party animal of the bird world, proof that nature sometimes goes overboard with the color palette and just rolls with it. Bright red chest, blue head, green wings, orange belly. It's like a pack of crayons exploded in evolved feathers. And somehow, it works. You don't look at a rainbow lorikeet, you grin at it. Native to Australia's coasts and rainforests, these birds travel in flocks that sound like a carnival on espresso. They scream, squabble, kiss, steal fruit, and dive headfirst into flowers like they're doing shots of nectar. They're hyperactive sugar addicts with wings. Here's a fun fact. Rainbow lorikeets have brush-tipped tongues, tiny bristles that let them lap up nectar with surgical precision. It's like a built-in straw, and it's why they can feed from flowers other birds can't even reach. But they don't share. They'll chase off rivals, sometimes entire parrots twice their size, because cute doesn't mean polite. Their social life? Constant chaos. They pair for life. But life here includes a lot of noisy public arguing. Every dawn, couples reunite with loud greetings that sound suspiciously like someone yelling, "You again!" And yet for all the racket, there's something pure about them. That wild joy of existing in full color, never quiet, never subtle. They're living fireworks. When the sun hits their feathers, they flash like a kaleidoscope in motion, each one brighter than the last. You could film them at any frame rate and still not catch up. So what do you think? The happiest bird alive or the jungle's most adorable menace? Because whether they're fighting, flirting, or flying, one thing's certain, the world feels louder and better when they're in it. The rainbow lorikeet, bold, brilliant, and beautifully unhinged. Proof that perfection doesn't have to behave. After the lorikeet's carnival fades, the sky opens, and out of the blue, quite literally, comes the most photogenic bird in Africa. Meet the lilac-breasted roller, the flying paintbrush of the savannah, and the reason half of Africa's postcards exist. Lilac chest, turquoise belly, emerald wings. It's a walking mood board for joy. When sunlight hits those feathers, the whole bird glows like it swallowed a rainbow and never recovered. It doesn't just fly, it performs. You'll find it perched alone on acacia trees, scanning the golden grass for insects or lizards. A calm artist waiting for inspiration. Then suddenly, it dives, a rolling, twisting, somersaulting blur of color and motion. That's not hunting, that's acrobatics. Here's a fun fact. Rollers get their name from this mid-air tumble, a full 360-degree roll during courtship or display flights. It's like saying, "Watch this trick, and then marry me." And honestly, it usually works. They mate for life, often returning to the same nesting tree year after year. When they land together, they sit side by side like a royal couple at sunset. Quiet, calm, content. But make no mistake, this beauty has bite. It's territorial, feisty, and will dive bomb hawks 10 times its size just for entering the wrong airspace. It's the kind of bird that says, "Yes, I'm pretty, and I can throw hands." Photographers chase it for that perfect shot. Color against the African sky, wings stretched wide, rolling through golden light. It's cinematic perfection that somehow feels humble. So what do you think? The most beautiful flyer on earth, or just a show-off with perfect lighting? Because either way, the lilac-breasted roller doesn't chase the camera. The camera chases it. The lilac-breasted roller, vivid, fearless, and proof that sometimes the sky doesn't need a sunset. It just needs this bird. After all that flying, let's land on still water, where beauty doesn't need to move to take your breath away. Meet the mandarin duck, a living painting so perfect it looks like it escaped from an artist's dream of East Asia. Flame orange sails rise from its back, emerald and violet shimmer along its wings. And that red bill? It's the finishing brushstroke on a masterpiece that shouldn't exist in real life. You'll find them gliding across quiet ponds in China, Japan, and Korea, barely making a ripple, as if even the water knows better than to interrupt perfection. Everything about this bird says grace. Here's a fun fact. The mandarin duck has been a symbol of love and fidelity for over 1,000 years. In ancient China, newlyweds received carved pairs of them as a blessing for lifelong harmony, because these ducks mate for life. No divorce, no drama, just synchronized serenity. And while the male dazzles with its royal wardrobe, the female is understated, soft gray with delicate white eye rings, like a quiet smile next to a king in full regalia. Together, their balance made visible. But don't let the calm fool you. They can vanish into flight in a heartbeat, launching straight from the water without a splash. It's effortless elegance, the kind of move that makes you realize beauty and power don't have to be opposites. Even their reflection looks choreographed. Two perfect shapes floating in mirror symmetry. It's poetry in motion, written in ripples. So what do you think? The world's most romantic bird, or just proof that perfection found a home in feathers? Because when the mandarin duck drifts by, you don't just see it, you feel it. The mandarin duck, tranquil, timeless, and proof that love itself can learn how to float. If the mandarin duck is serenity, this one is pure spectacle. Meet the golden pheasant, the bird that looks like it walks straight out of an emperor's dream. Gold, scarlet, and flame orange feathers spill down its neck like molten silk. A golden crest curves backward, and that long tail sweeps behind it like royal embroidery come to life. It doesn't just walk through the forest, it parades. Native to the misty mountains of China, the golden pheasant doesn't strut for humans, it struts for light. Every movement catches a different shimmer. Gold turns to bronze, red turns to fire, like the sunrise trying to outshine itself. Here's a fun fact. Those mesmerizing colors aren't just for looks. They're part of a mating performance so theatrical you'd think it was choreographed by a Broadway director. The male spreads his cape-like ruff, bows low, and circles the female in slow, deliberate steps. Half peacock, half fashion show. It's silent drama, drenched in gold. But behind the glamour lies precision. Their vision is razor sharp, their senses fine-tuned for life in the shaded bamboo forests. When startled, they vanish into motion, a golden blur slicing through green shadows. And despite their imperial elegance, golden pheasants are surprisingly humble in the wild, feeding on seeds and insects, roosting quietly in the dark, as if they only turn the lights on when someone's watching. For centuries, they've symbolized good fortune and majesty, appearing on palace robes, paintings, and myths. In a country that once called dragons sacred, this was the bird that dared to wear their colors. So what do you think? A living crown jewel, or just nature showing off its best embroidery skills? Because no matter where you stand, when this bird steps into sunlight, you stop breathing for a second. The golden pheasant, royal, radiant, and proof that sometimes the forest wears gold. After the golden blaze fades, the forest exhales, and in steps the silver pheasant, dressed not in color, but in confidence. This bird is the definition of elegance in grayscale. Snow-white feathers ripple like silk drapes, each lined with delicate black etching, a pattern so perfect it could pass for calligraphy. Add a red face mask and glossy black crown, and you've got something between a samurai and a runway model. Native to the mountain forests of China and Southeast Asia, the silver pheasant doesn't need to shout for attention, it commands it. While its cousin, the golden, glitters in the sun, this one glows in the shade. It strides through the undergrowth with the composure of royalty on marble floors. No rush, no panic, just the quiet knowledge that it owns the room. Here's a fun fact. In ancient Chinese symbolism, the silver pheasant represented nobility and virtue. It was literally embroidered on the robes of imperial officials, a walking metaphor for power earned, not flaunted. During courtship, the male fans his long white tail in slow, sweeping arcs, not for flash, but for form. It's less fireworks, more poetry. The message isn't, look how bright I am, but look how I move. And yet, beneath all that refinement, there's strength. These birds can burst into flight instantly, beating their wings with surprising force. A reminder that grace without power is just decoration. So what do you think? The gentleman of the bird world, or a silent samurai waiting for applause? Because in a forest full of color, sometimes black and white steals the scene. The silver pheasant, elegant, deliberate, and proof that real beauty doesn't need to shout, it only needs to arrive. If the silver pheasant was the noble courtier, this bird is the ancient sage, quiet, rare, and carrying centuries of forgotten glory. Meet the brown-eared pheasant, a relic of imperial China and one of the most elusive jewels still walking the mountain forest today. It doesn't dazzle with neon color. Instead, it whispers refinement. Long, soft brown-gray feathers shimmer with hints of smoke and pearl, crowned by a white crest that sweeps elegantly backward. And those namesake ears, long white tufts that give it a face halfway between a monk and a philosopher. You won't find it strutting for cameras. It's shy, reclusive, living in the cold pine forests of northern China, a place where winter breathes and time moves slowly. If you spot one, it feels less like discovery and more like permission. Here's a fun fact. The brown-eared pheasant is nationally protected in China, one of the country's rarest endemic birds, with fewer than 20,000 individuals left in the wild. Once hunted for its feathers, symbols of dignity and purity, it now survives only in remote sanctuaries, as if guarding the last quiet corners of history. Its call is deep and resonant, echoing across misty valleys like a temple bell. Not loud, but impossible to forget. Even the way it moves, slow, deliberate, every step placed like calligraphy, feels like meditation made visible. And yet this isn't a fragile bird. It endures harsh winters, predators, and shrinking forests, proof that true grace doesn't fade under pressure. So what do you think? The forgotten emperor of the pheasant world? Or just the last monk standing in a temple made of snow and pine? Because either way, the brown-eared pheasant doesn't ask to be admired. It simply reminds you that beauty, too, can grow old gracefully. The brown-eared pheasant, ancient, enduring, and proof that not every crown shines, some simply survive. If pigeons were royalty, this would be the one sitting on a velvet throne, sipping dew from a crystal leaf. Meet the blue-crowned pigeon, the bird that makes every city pigeon look like an unpaid intern. It's massive, nearly the size of a turkey, wrapped in deep cobalt feathers that shimmer like ocean dusk. But its crown, oh, that crown, a fan of lacy powder blue feathers tipped with tiny white pearls, like nature's most delicate tiara. This isn't just a bird, it's haute couture with a heartbeat. You'll find it deep in the rainforests of New Guinea, striding gracefully through the shadows like it's late for a royal engagement. And despite its regal looks, it's calm, curious, almost gentle. The kind of creature that doesn't need to prove it's special. Here's a fun fact. The blue-crowned pigeon is the largest pigeon species on Earth. It coos in a low, resonant bass tone, a sound so deep it feels more like a heartbeat than a song. And when it walks, its feathers sway softly, as if every step deserves background music. They mate for life, building nests low to the ground, sharing food, warmth, and that royal calm. In the chaos of the jungle, they move with the patience of old souls. And yet their beauty has made them targets, hunted for feathers, trophies, or just because humans can't resist beauty. Today their numbers are falling, turning this living crown into a symbol of fragility. Still, when the light cuts through the forest and hits that shimmering blue plume, you understand why legends don't need to speak. They just appear. So what do you think? The jungle's true monarch? Or proof that elegance can still walk barefoot? Because in a world of flash and frenzy, this bird proves that grace never goes out of style. The blue-crowned pigeon, royal, serene, and proof that even pigeons can be born of starlight. After royal crowns and velvet shadows, it's time for something bright, bold, and delightfully down to earth. Meet the crimson rosella, Australia's little ambassador of color and chaos. This parrot looks like it was hand-painted at sunrise. Crimson red body, cobalt blue wings, and a pattern so sharp it feels digital. It's the kind of bird that makes you blink twice just to make sure it's real. You'll find it fluttering through eucalyptus forests and backyards alike, perched on balconies, stealing snacks, and greeting hikers like local celebrities. In Australia, you don't go birdwatching for them. They come to you. They're charming, noisy, and just a little too confident. The kind of personality that says, yes, I am gorgeous, and yes, I will take your lunch. Here's a fun fact. Crimson rosellas are among the few parrots whose color varies by region. In the south, they're deep red, in the north, yellow-orange, and sometimes even a mix of both. So depending on where you go, you might meet the crimson, yellow, or hybrid rosella, like the same bird wearing different moods. Their call, a melodic ping-ping that sounds halfway between laughter and gossip. They mate for life, and pairs can be seen gently preening each other for hours. A soft reminder that beauty and affection often go hand in hand. But make no mistake, they're tough. From snow-tipped mountains to coastal cities, these birds thrive everywhere. Proof that looking fabulous doesn't mean you can't be fierce. So what do you think? Australia's friendliest feathered model, or just a gorgeous hooligan with wings? Because either way, the crimson rosella proves that charm, like color, is best worn loud and proud. The crimson rosella, playful, radiant, and proof that joy when it flies leaves a trail of red behind it. If nature ever had a sense of humor, this is the punchline. Meet the toco toucan, the bird that looks like a cartoon character someone accidentally made real. It's black, white, and orange, simple palette, yet somehow it steals the show from creatures covered in rainbows. That beak, though, bright tangerine, huge, oversized, like evolution decided, let's give him a sword, but make it fruit-themed. And yet, it works. Elegant, iconic, instantly recognizable. You could sketch its silhouette with 3 lines and everyone would know. Found across the rainforests of South America, the toco toucan hops through the canopy like a feathered jester, using that massive bill not for show, but for balance, feeding, and even thermoregulation. That's right, it works like a built-in air conditioner, radiating heat through hundreds of tiny blood vessels. Practical and fabulous. Here's a fun fact. For all its size, the toucan's beak is made mostly of foam-like keratin, light, spongy, and surprisingly tough. It's like holding a weapon that weighs less than your phone. They feed on fruit, eggs, and the occasional unlucky insect, tossing food into the air and catching it mid-flight with Olympic precision. And when they rest, they tuck that enormous bill under their wing like it's no big deal, as if hiding a trumpet under a napkin. Social, noisy, and dramatic. Toucans are the comedians of the jungle. Always curious, always nosy, and somehow never losing their charm. But beneath the jokes lies genius design. That beak, that balance, that bold contrast, it's evolution at its most confident. So what do you think? The ultimate symbol of tropical joy, or proof that Mother Nature occasionally gets silly on purpose? Because either way, you can't help but smile when this bird shows up. The toco toucan, bright, bizarre, and proof that beauty doesn't need subtlety, it just needs attitude. If the toco toucan was the flashy celebrity, this one is the mysterious artist who prefers the shadows. Meet the golden-collared toucan, a smaller, sleeker cousin that proves subtlety can still steal the spotlight. Black body, emerald wings, and that bold splash of gold circling its throat like a piece of jungle jewelry. Add a lime green face, crimson belly, and a bill that looks like it was carved by a designer with a sense of humor. And you've got the rainforest's best-dressed introvert. You'll find it deep in the Amazon basin, perched quietly under filtered light, where every color seems to glow from within. Unlike its louder relatives, the golden-collared toucan prefers discretion. No noisy flocks, no high drama, just elegance on mute. Here's a fun fact. That golden band around its neck isn't just decoration. It acts as a visual cue in dim forest light, helping pairs recognize each other instantly. It's evolution's version of a matching necklace. And yes, they mate for life. They duet in soft croaks and whistles, trading calls like little love songs that echo through the canopy. If the toco toucan throws a concert, the toucan sings jazz at midnight. Despite their small size, they're agile climbers, hopping branch to branch, snatching berries and insects with surgical precision. Their movement is so smooth it's like watching color flow instead of feathers flutter. But don't mistake quiet for weakness. These birds defend their nests fiercely, using that curved beak like a blade when needed. The jungle's version of pretty but dangerous. So what do you think? The rainforest's most stylish minimalist? Or just a tiny rebel refusing to play loud? Because sometimes the most beautiful things don't need to scream. The golden-collared toucan, refined, radiant, and proof that even in the wild, elegance always finds a voice. If nature ever dropped the mic, this bird is the moment it did. Meet Wilson's bird of paradise, the tiniest, strangest, most flawlessly designed creature to ever make you question whether evolution was just showing off. We're talking neon blue crown, crimson back, golden cape, and twin-tail wires tipped with turquoise spirals. Yes, spirals. It's as if someone told nature, make me a bird, but go nuts with the accessories. You'll find this jewel hiding on remote Indonesian islands, where it performs one of the weirdest courtship rituals on Earth. Before dancing, the male clears his stage, literally sweeps leaves off the forest floor with his feet until the dance floor is spotless. Then, under a single shaft of light, he begins his performance, flaring his feathers, twisting, bouncing, and flashing his colors like a tiny disco ball. Here's a fun fact. Scientists filming this bird had to use mirrors because it was too smart to dance if it sensed eyes on it. That's right. Even in the jungle, some artists don't perform for free. Its head isn't feathered. It's bare skin, glowing electric blue due to specialized blood cells that bend light differently at each angle. So when it moves, its face literally shifts color, a living hologram the size of your hand. And that tail, pure design flex. It serves no aerodynamic purpose. It's just decoration, an evolutionary because I can. It feeds on fruit and insects, lives in near silence, and yet somehow radiates the energy of a rock star mid-concert. Every movement, every shimmer feels rehearsed, and it probably is. So what do you think? The most beautiful bird on Earth, or just evolution's favorite inside joke? Because one thing's for sure, if aliens ever visit Earth, this is the bird they'll take a selfie with. Wilson's bird of paradise. Tiny, dazzling, and proof that sometimes beauty isn't natural, it's supernatural. If Wilson's bird of paradise was the solo artist, this one is the full orchestra. Meet the lesser bird of paradise, the jungle's waltz, the curtain of gold that turns air into theater. Males wear long, flowing flank plumes of glowing yellow and white that burst outward like liquid sunlight when they dance. Add an emerald green throat and chocolate brown wings, and you've got a bird that looks like a moving painting, half angel, half fever dream. You'll find them in the rainforests of New Guinea, where the air hums with their soft calls before dawn. And when the show begins, branches tremble, feathers flare, and the canopy becomes a stage. Males gather in display trees, performing synchronized routines to impress the females watching above. They hang upside down, spread their plumes, and flutter in slow, hypnotic waves of golden light. It's not just beauty, it's choreography refined over millennia. Here's a fun fact. Early European explorers who saw these birds thought they came from heaven. Locals traded the skins without legs or wings, leading scientists to believe they never touched the ground. They named them birds of paradise because they seem too perfect for Earth. But the truth is even better. These birds do land, eat fruit, and occasionally squabble, just very, very beautifully. Their elegance isn't a myth, it's a survival strategy. In a world where light filters through 1,000 greens, they chose to be sunlight itself. When they dance, every motion slows time. You stop breathing for a second because the jungle stops too. Like everyone agreed, beauty deserves silence. So what do you think? Divine messengers from another world, or just proof that evolution fell in love with its own creation? Because whether you believe in heaven or not, you'll find a glimpse of it here. The lesser bird of paradise, grace in motion, and proof that perfection sometimes wears feathers. If the birds of paradise were golden fireworks, this one is the silent afterglow, the whisper of light that lingers after heaven closes its door. Meet the Asian paradise flycatcher, a vision in white, so graceful it looks less like a bird and more like a spirit learning to fly. Pure snow plumage, inky blue crown, and those tail streamers, two silken ribbons that can reach nearly a foot long, rippling behind it like trails of moonlight. When it moves, it doesn't fly so much as glide through time. You'll find it weaving between forest beams in India, Southeast Asia, and beyond, darting through shafts of sunlight, snatching insects midair with impossible precision. It's small, but every move feels choreographed, like a dancer who doesn't know you're watching, but somehow performs anyway. Here's a fun fact. The males don't start out white. They begin life in dull chestnut plumage, and only after 2 years they transform, molting into shimmering white with elongated tails. It's the avian version of becoming who you were always meant to be. Locals call it the Swarg Pakshi, bird of heaven, and honestly, it earns the name. When one darts past you, there's a split second where your mind goes blank. As if your eyes saw beauty your brain couldn't process in time. They mate for life, sharing food, protecting nests, raising chicks in the quiet canopy. Even in parenting, their elegance personified, grace with purpose. And yet, this isn't fragility, it's focus. Light, fast, fearless. A living paradox, soft to the eye, hard to catch. So what do you think? A ghost in the forest, or just the definition of elegance on wings? Because the Asian paradise flycatcher doesn't need gold or crimson. It wins with silence. The Asian paradise flycatcher, pure, patient, and proof that not all beauty burns bright. Some simply glows. If the Asian paradise flycatcher was elegance in white, this one is color with rhythm. Meet the turquoise-browed motmot, Central America's unofficial painter, a bird so artistic it comes with its own brush. Turquoise brows glow above coral orange cheeks, its back flashes emerald green. And that tail, two long, racket-tipped feathers, sways like a pendulum with perfect timing. It doesn't fly, it flows. You'll find it perched on low branches in Mexico, Nicaragua, and Costa Rica, watching the world like a chill artist studying light. It's calm, confident, and, let's be honest, way too photogenic for its own good. Here's a fun fact. That hypnotic tail swing isn't random. Scientists discovered the motmot uses it like a signal, a form of communication and courtship. Each side-to-side motion says, I see you, I'm here, and yes, I look fabulous. Locals call it the guarda barranco, guardian of the canyon. It nests in burrows dug into cliffsides, defending its home with quiet vigilance and style. Think of it as the tropical version of a samurai. Deadly focused, beautifully dressed. Its turquoise eyebrow feathers catch sunlight like stained glass, and when it turns its head, they flash electric blue. A color so pure it makes the sky look jealous. And unlike most showy birds, the motmot is zen. No loud calls, no drama, just stillness, grace, and a tail that never stops moving, like time keeping its own rhythm. So what do you think? A living metronome painted by the gods, or the bird version of a daydream caught mid-breath? Because the turquoise-browed motmot doesn't just decorate the jungle, it teaches it how to move in color. The turquoise-browed motmot, cool, composed, and proof that sometimes beauty isn't about speed or sound, but about balance. If sunlight ever decided to learn how to walk on water, it would look like this. Meet the purple gallinule, the rainbow ghost of the marsh, a bird so iridescent it makes ponds look underdressed. Its body shimmers violet, blue, and emerald, like oil on water turned into feathers. Add a red and yellow candy-colored bill and lemon-yellow legs so long they look like stilts from a circus act. It's a walking contradiction, delicate and ridiculous, and somehow absolutely beautiful. You'll find it gliding through wetlands across the Americas, tiptoeing across floating lilies like it's walking on glass. Its long toes spread weight evenly, letting it do the impossible. Stride across the surface like it's performing a miracle every morning. Here's a fun fact. Despite looking fragile, the purple gallinule is a world-class traveler. Some individuals migrate thousands of miles, crossing the Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico on those spindly legs. That's right. The bird that looks like it belongs in a jewelry store also doubles as a marathon athlete. Its diet, fruit, seeds, insects, frogs, basically anything it can sneak up on between reflections. And yes, it runs on lily pads. If Grace had speed, it would look like this bird chasing breakfast. When sunlight hits its feathers, the colors shift. Violet to sapphire, turquoise to green. Like a mood ring powered by the sun. It's hypnotic. And in calm water, its reflection glows so bright it looks like a dream trying to remember itself. So what do you think? The most underrated beauty of the wetlands? Or proof that elegance sometimes hides in the swamps? Because the purple gallinule doesn't care where it lives. It brings its own spotlight. The purple gallinule, radiant, clever, and proof that Grace doesn't need dry land. If the rainforest birds are exotic supermodels, this one's the neighborhood rock star. Loud, proud, and always up to something. Meet the blue jay, the bird that proves you don't have to be rare to be unforgettable. Vibrant sapphire wings, crisp white chest, and that iconic black necklace that looks like it was designed by an actual stylist. But it's not just looks. This bird's got personality, and a lot of it. Native to North America, blue jays rule the backyard like it's their personal stage. They're fearless, curious, and occasionally a little bit of a menace. They mimic hawks to scare other birds, steal peanuts from feeders they don't own, and somehow make all of it look charming. Here's a fun fact. Blue jays are brilliant mimics. They can copy the calls of other birds, even imitating raptors so convincingly that smaller birds panic and scatter, clearing the buffet for themselves. Smart? Yes. Polite? Absolutely not. Their intelligence goes beyond tricks. They cache food, recognize faces, and even hold funerals for fallen members of their flock. There's emotion under that attitude. When sunlight hits their feathers, they shine deep blue. But here's the twist. They're not actually blue. Their feathers contain no pigment at all. It's structural color, light scattering through microscopic patterns. So in a way, the blue jay isn't colored. It's engineered brilliance. They travel in noisy family groups, shouting across trees like a sitcom cast that never stops talking. But when you watch them closely, the precision of their flight, the way light flashes off their wings, you realize there's grace in the chaos. So what do you think? America's most beautiful troublemaker, or just a loud genius with feathers? Because love them or not, blue jays never fade into the background. They are the background noise of beauty. The blue jay, bold, mischievous, and proof that sometimes charisma is louder than color. If the blue jay is confidence, this one is pure magic. Meet the painted bunting, the bird that looks like someone hit randomized colors and accidentally created perfection. We're talking sapphire head, lime green back, scarlet belly, and wings painted in streaks of violet and gold. No pattern makes sense, and yet it's flawless. It's like a rainbow got lost and decided to live as a bird. Found across the southeastern U.S. and Central America, the painted bunting isn't rare, just rarely seen. It prefers dense shrubs and thickets, where it sings from the shadows, letting the lucky few catch a glimpse of living color. Here's a fun fact. Early settlers called it nonpareil, French for without equal. And honestly, they were right, because no painter, no matter how bold, would ever dare mix these hues together. The male's plumage takes years to develop. Young buntings are plain green, blending perfectly into the leaves. Only when they mature do they erupt into this impossible palette. It's a transformation so dramatic, it feels like nature rewarding patience. Their song is soft but persistent, a cascade of high, sweet notes, as if color itself decided to sing. Each tune marks territory, yes, but it also says, I'm here and I refuse to be ordinary. Despite their beauty, these birds face the same old story, habitat loss and trapping. In some regions, they've been captured for the pet trade, their color treated like a commodity. But even in cages, they never lose that wild look, the kind that says freedom is a pigment too. So what do you think? The most beautiful bird in North America, or just a rainbow caught mid-flight? Because the painted bunting doesn't ask for admiration, it demands disbelief. The painted bunting, tiny, radiant, and proof that sometimes nature paints outside the lines and nails it. After all the neon and chaos, let's slow down for a moment, because elegance doesn't always sparkle. Sometimes it whispers. Meet the Bohemian waxwing, a bird so smooth it looks airbrushed by winter itself. Soft gray body, rose-tinted blush on the face, black eyeliner mask, and tiny drops of red and yellow on the wingtips, like someone signed their masterpiece with wax and fire. Even the name sounds like a fashion brand. Bohemian Waxwing, Winter 2025. You'll find them across northern forests and icy cities, moving in quiet flocks that ripple through frozen air like silk scarves. They're gentle, social, and, surprisingly, a little gluttonous. When berries ripen, they gorge until they can't fly straight. Sometimes literally. Yes, there are actual reports of waxwings getting tipsy off fermented fruit. Here's a fun fact. Those waxy red tips on their wings, they're not decoration. They're made of keratin, and their brightness signals age and status. The more vivid the wax, the more mature and desirable the bird. So yes, even in the Arctic, style still matters. Their song is barely a sound, a soft, high trill that feels more like breath than music. It's the sonic version of snow falling. And when hundreds gather in trees, the air fills with that whispering shimmer, a living snowfall in motion. They migrate in unpredictable waves, chasing berry crops across continents. One year in Alaska, the next in Japan. They're wanderers with impeccable taste. So what do you think? The most elegant bird of the North? Or just proof that luxury doesn't need to shout? Because the Bohemian waxwing doesn't perform for attention. It simply arrives wrapped in velvet air and winter light. The Bohemian waxwing, graceful, subtle, and proof that even the coldest places still remember how to glow. If beauty could crush you and still look fabulous doing it, this would be the bird. Meet the harpy eagle, the crown jewel of the rainforest, and possibly the most terrifying supermodel alive. Standing over 3 feet tall with talons the size of a grizzly's claws, it looks like a creature halfway between a Greek god and a dinosaur. Those silver gray feathers, that black chest band, and those hypnotic eyes. This isn't a bird, it's an apex predator wrapped in couture. You'll find it soaring above the Amazon canopy, silent, patient, like a shadow with intent. It hunts monkeys, sloths, and anything else foolish enough to move. When it strikes, it doesn't chase. It drops with the kind of precision that makes gravity look jealous. Here's a fun fact. The harpy's grip can crush bones with over 500 pounds of pressure. That's like a bear trap wearing feathers. And yet, it's astonishingly graceful, gliding through trees the size of skyscrapers without making a sound. Despite its power, it's surprisingly devoted. Pairs mate for life, building nests 6 feet wide in the tallest trees, raising one chick every few years with patient tenderness. It's the ultimate paradox, a killer that nurtures like a saint. Locals call it the ghost of the forest, because you don't see a harpy eagle, you feel it. A rush of air, a flicker of gray, and suddenly the jungle goes silent. So what do you think? The most beautiful raptor on Earth? Or just nature's reminder that elegance can eat you? Because the harpy eagle doesn't need approval, it already owns the sky. The harpy eagle, majestic, merciless, and proof that sometimes beauty isn't meant to be soft, it's meant to be feared. If the harpy eagle is the jungle's god of war, this one is its guardian angel. Meet the Philippine eagle, majestic, solemn, and heartbreakingly rare. A creature so regal it's been called the monkey-eating eagle. With snow-white feathers, chocolate brown wings, and a spiked golden crest that looks like a crown caught in the wind. It's the kind of bird that seems aware of its own legend. It doesn't roar for attention. It commands silence. Found only in the rainforests of the Philippines, the Philippine eagle is one of the largest and most powerful birds alive. It can lift prey heavier than itself, yet glides through ancient canopies like a phantom in slow motion. And when it lands, the forest seems to pause, as if bowing. Here's a fun fact, or maybe a sad one. There are fewer than 400 of these eagles left in the wild. Centuries of deforestation have turned their kingdom into fragments. Each surviving pair needs over 15 square miles of forest to hunt, and that space is vanishing faster than their flight. But they remain loyal, fiercely so. Mating for life, they raise just one chick every 2 years, feeding it carefully, training it to hunt, until one day, it rises into the clouds. It's not just survival, it's ceremony. Locals call it Haribon, king of the birds. But even kings need kingdoms, and this one's shrinking by the hour. Still, when you look into its eyes, you don't see fear. You see defiance. It's as if the eagle itself refuses extinction, a living reminder that majesty and fragility can share the same wings. So what do you think? The rarest beauty on earth, or the last echo of an empire made of trees? Because one thing's for sure, if Grace had a guardian, it would wear this crown. The Philippine eagle, proud, endangered, and proof that true power isn't about dominance, it's about endurance. After all the color, the chaos, the gold, and the thunder, the final bird arrives like silence after a symphony. Meet the Fairy Tern, the whisper of beauty, the purest note in nature's long song. No neon, no flame, no crown, just white. Feathers so pale they glow blue in sunlight, as if sky and sea mixed their colors and forgot to add shadows. Its black eyes look painted in ink, soft and endless, like two tiny windows into calm. You'll find it over the turquoise waters of the Pacific, from the Seychelles to Hawaii, hovering above coral reefs in endless, effortless motion. It feeds on flying fish, darting through salt air like a ghost with purpose. It doesn't soar, it floats. Here's a fun fact. The fairy tern doesn't build a nest. No branches, no mud, no home. Instead, it lays its single egg on a bare tree branch, just balanced there, with nothing holding it in place except faith and wind. Every day, the adult returns, turns the egg gently so it won't roll away. And somehow it works, because maybe trust is a kind of architecture. When the chick hatches, it clings to the branch, staring out at the same vast blue that will one day carry it away. There's something poetic about that. The smallest creature surviving through nothing but balance and devotion. No scream, no color, no performance, just purity. A reminder that not all beauty is loud and not all perfection demands attention. So what do you think? The simplest bird on our list or the truest symbol of grace? Because after 25 miracles of design and color, this one ends the story not with spectacle, but with peace. The fairy tern, silent, weightless, and proof that in a world of too much, sometimes nothing is the most beautiful thing of all. And there you have it. 25 wings, 25 worlds, and one undeniable truth. Beauty doesn't follow rules. From the thunder of the harpy eagle to the silence of the fairy tern, from the chaos of color to the calm of light, each bird is a living argument that evolution isn't just survival, it's art. Some dazzled us with colors we didn't know existed. Some whispered elegance through simplicity, and some reminded us that even power can be graceful. But all of them shared the same secret. They exist because the world still allows wonder. Here's a thought. We always call these the most beautiful birds, but maybe they're just mirrors. Because when we stare long enough into the eyes of a quetzal, a paradise flycatcher, a humble blue jay, we're really seeing our own hunger for meaning, our need for something pure that doesn't ask for anything in return. And maybe that's why we film them, paint them, chase them across jungles and wetlands. We're not just watching birds. We're trying to remember what awe feels like. Every feather here tells a story of freedom, of survival, of joy, of the colors this planet still keeps hidden in its corners. And if we're lucky, just lucky enough, we'll protect those corners long enough for their songs to outlive us. So now it's your turn. Which of these 25 took your breath away? Which one made you stop and think, maybe perfection really does fly? Because in the end, the world's most beautiful bird isn't the one we find, it's the one we remember.